Why do you think they're wearing it like this? Don't move your feet at all. Like, don't, hang on, both of you. You get this on camera. Can you, Wesley, can you? In China, same thing, right? You don't think it's safe?
안녕하세요, 원다입니다. 펜실베니아 주립대 사회학과 샘 리처드 교수는 우리의 방식은 같지 않다라는 수업에서 동양인과 서양인들이 행동하는 방식의 차이에 대해 이야기했는데요. 특히 공동체를 중요하게 생각해 상대를 존중하고 예를 표하는 동양의 문화적 특징에 대해 말하며 그 예로 영어로는 번역할 수 없는 눈치라는 단어를 소개합니다. 또한 지하철에서 다른 사람과 부딪히지 않기 위해 책가방을 앞으로 매는 행동, 휴대폰이나 노트북을 카페 책상에 놓고 오랫동안 나타나지 않아도 아무도 그 물건을 훔치지 않는 사회적 현상 등 샘 리처드 교수가 한국에 와서 직접 경험하며 놀랐던 일화들을 제시합니다. 그리고 그와 반대로 개인주의가 강해 상대방의 입장을 즉각적으로 고려하지 못하는 미국인들의 행동이 지금 이 수업 안에서도 드러난다며 그런 행동을 하고 있는 학생들을 카메라에 비춰 보여주기도 하고 자신이 경험했던 다른 예시들을 보여주며 동양과 서양의 문화적 차이점을 꼬집어냅니다.
We're going to have a conversation about some things that I experience in the East. So, if you can either look at this one or that one, it doesn't really matter. But I want to have a conversation about this. Comportment is like your stature in the world, your way of being in the world, how you hold yourself in relation to people around you, and just how you hold yourself in the world. In East Asia, there's this kind of much more of an emphasis on community and a greater awareness of what's going on around us. In Korea, there's this word nunchi. Right, that's really you have high levels of nunchi or low levels of nunchi, but that's like your like social awareness or your social intellect. So I'm thinking about this. So 2 days ago I'm in Seoul, right, and I'm just like there's just a way in which people in Seoul are just not like here. I'm not talking about just in class. I go to the subway. You go to subways. It's like deathly. It's quiet. It's so quiet. So I'm riding the Seoul subway. Bro, is this your backpack? So here's how everyone's got their backpack on, like this, in the Seoul subway. Why do you think they're wearing it like this?
So they don't knock people?
Yeah, so they don't knock. Everyone's got their backpack like this. It's like you don't want to knock anybody. Meanwhile, check this out. My backpack is like this. Because I'm not thinking about it, because I didn't realize, at first, like when I get in the subway, my backpack is like this, and I'm like knocking somebody like this, and I'm knocking someone around, and then I'm realizing, oh man, hang on, got to change it around, because you want to be small, right? The last thing I want to do is knock into somebody, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in their space. I want to be really thoughtful and kind, and it's like, get out of the way, and people, when it's crowded, people are pushing around because you can't not do that. But it's like being really aware. I'm like, damn, man, that's this comportment thing, right? Like, don't just always be cognizant of other people around so you don't make anybody else uncomfortable and you don't harm them in some way.
샘 리처드 교수가 한 한국인 학생에게 한국과 미국에서 느낀 다른 점이 뭔지에 대해 묻자 그 학생은 강의실에서 의자에 발을 올리는 행동은 한국에서는 절대 있을 수 없는 일이라고 콕 집어 말합니다. 이에 대해 샘 리처드 교수는 지금 여기서도 의자에 발을 올리고 있는 학생들이 보인다고 지적합니다. 또한 미국인들은 이렇게 눈에 띄고 튀는 행동을 많이 하는데 한국인들은 왜 다른 사람들의 눈에 띄지 않으려는지, 튀는 것이 뭐가 문제라고 생각하는지 질문하는데요. 그러자 다른 한국인 학생이 우리는 수줍어하고 부끄러워서 튀지 않으려는 것이 아니라 예로부터 상대방을 존중하고 무더른을 공경하는 문화가 있어 왔기에 현재까지도 그 문화가 배어 있는 것이라고 설명합니다.
I see some people who sitting like who sits like this in a classroom, but I never, and like none of my friends sit like this in my own country because I don't want the professor to think about me that I'm like rude or.
Because if you do that, I'm gonna if I'm like right now. So if you and I you were shaking your head, right? Like if we look out there and we see some people sitting like that, we're gonna notice them and they're gonna stand out like this, like right there, like he's gonna stand out, and like you don't want to stand out. Why don't you want to stand out? Like what's wrong with standing out? When I go to Seoul and I'm watching someone and I'm seeing them just take up a lot of space, I'm like, oh, that's an American. So I'm just wondering, like, what is that about standing out? Hang on. Do you have a comment? Here, he's...
Yeah, one thing that I kind of want to point out is I don't think our culture is like reserved.
Yeah, it's not. That's the culture isn't reserved.
It's more about because our culture is more on like respecting other people. So it's not about like being shy.
Yeah.
So like
No, it's not. I'm glad you're saying that because it's not like a whole row of shy people. No, you go to Korea, it's like people aren't shy, but it's this interpersonal space in which there's just a deep respect.
I think like before Korea was modernized, we had Confucianism, which is like treat others with respect to elders and like in order to fight like bigger countries, like we had to be unified. So having that religion with like treating each other with respect, and now we're modernized and we don't have the religion, like the national religion, yet like the Confucianism is still like
it's
a part
still
of,
there.
Yeah, so I think it's not about like don't stand out, be reserved. It's more about we respect you as much as we respect you as much as we want to be respected.
Yeah. And so those are just things that what it looks like. But the don't stand out is there. But listen, it's like this is why what you were saying, like in a chair in this room, like I sometimes see students put their feet up on the back of the chair of the person in front of them. It's like like if I were like here, like I see people come into this. You have right there. You have your feet and hang on. Don't move your feet at all. Like don't hang on, both of you. All three of you, dudes, do not move your feet. Can you get this on camera? Can you, Wesley? Can you like keep your feet right there? Right? Wesley, see all these feet on the chair right here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you see that? Like, you just would never do that. You wouldn't see that in a classroom. Like, it's just not, because someone's going to come in, watch what happens. Someone comes in late, I got to sit in this chair. It's like you would never disrespect somebody like that. Now I got to deal with your dirty shoes on the chair, and I'm like, you wouldn't do that. Like that is the single most disrespectful thing you could possibly ever do, right? But it's not here. But you're American. You're all Americans, right? So it's not for Americans. We're just like whatever. Like sit down on the chair and like put your head back. And as soon as I do that, you're going to move your feet. But that's the thing here. That we're not thinking constantly about the other person. What do they need? What do they want? What's someone going to think when they sit in that chair? It's like I want to be aware of that. I want to be thoughtful. I want to be careful about it.
샘 리처드 교수는 또 다른 예로 미국과 한국의 공안 검색대 직원들의 태도를 비교하는데요. 미국의 보안 검색 요원은 자신이 뭘 하기도 전에 소리를 질러대서 대체 왜 이러나 싶었는데 한국 보안 검색 요원들은 굉장히 친절했다고 이야기합니다.
Culture is like water for fish. Like fish don't see water, they don't understand water, they don't know they're in water. So culture is like that. And I don't know it until the moment I leave New York and like I go through TSA at New York. And first off, they're yelling at you all the time. You're just being yelled at. Like, take your shoes off. Don't take your shoes off. I was taking my watch off. When the guy says, like, did I tell you to take your watch off? I'm like, no, man. Damn, dude. He's like, put your watch back on. I'm like, holy shit, dude, stop yelling at me. Like, my God, who are you people? And I get to Korea, and it's just like, okay. Bowing and like everything is so like kind of like oh welcome, and then you go through TSA in Korea, in Seoul. I walked through and the person who's checking me over was like saying, oh excuse me, because it's gonna pass the wand over me. It's like, oh please don't step over here. Very kind, very calm, really nice. And like it's just like space, and they're apologizing for being in my space. I'm like, dude, in New York, The TSA, there's 5 of them around yelling at me, and I'm from across the room, and I haven't even done anything, and they're apologizing for like, hey, excuse me, I'm in your space. I'm like, you're not in my space. You're 2 meters away, but that's okay. This is the comportment thing.
동양과 서양의 처신에 대해 이야기하던 샘 리처드 교수는 한국에서는 커피숍 테이블 위에 물건을 놓고 커피를 가지러 가도 문제가 없는데 그것 또한 문화적 이유가 아니냐고 질문합니다. 그러면서 중국 학생에게 중국도 한국과 같지 않냐고 묻는데요. 그러자 중국 학생은 그런 행동이 중국에서는 안전하지 않다고 대답해 눈길을 끕니다. 동양이라고 다 같지 않다는 것이 드러나자 샘 리처드 교수는 한국에 가봐야 한다고 이야기합니다.
I have another question. When I was the other day I was in a coffee shop. This is pretty regularly, and people come into the coffee shop. Like people would go over to the spot where they want to sit, and they take their phone, and they put it on the table, and then they go and they get their coffee, or they go somewhere else, or they go wherever, and their phone's just sitting on the table, and it could be there like 15 or 20 minutes. And that's holding their spot. And like you don't even question that. And no one's going to touch the phone. Like nobody would ever walk in and touch their phone. And I'm watching this. I'm in this coffee shop, and there are these laptops and phones and all sorts of things that are sitting around on the tables, and there's nobody there. And I had coffee. At one point, I'm having coffee with this person, and 45 minutes go by, and the phone is sitting on the table the entire time. No one ever showed up for it. And I know they were holding the table. Like they were just waiting until they came back. And like, it didn't matter. And the thing that's interesting is that nobody would touch the phone. It's not their property.
That's the funny story. And then like we want the spot, not others' phone, and then we go to cafe to get coffee and sit in the comfort, like comfy spot, not to steal others' phone. That's why we left our phone on the like table and then go get coffee. And then other thing is like cameras are everywhere. So we know that we will get caught. That's
cameras
why.
are everywhere too, increasingly in the United States. But yeah, you also have that. But that's not the driving force, because this didn't start with cameras, right? This is like a long-standing thing. It's in China, same thing, right? Is that because people are not going to touch other people's stuff, or because you'll get in trouble if you touch people's stuff?
Actually, I don't think that's, if you leave your phone in a coffee shop, it's safe there, because I don't know.
You don't think it's safe?
I don't think it's safe, because my phone had been stolen before, so yeah, that's my personal experience.
Dude, you gotta go to Korea.
잠시 안내드리겠습니다. 지난번 원더 채널에서 진행했던 백진삼 행사에서 많은 분들이 폭발적인 반응을 보여주셨는데요. 섭취 후 효과를 보신 분들이 또 구매할 수 없냐는 문의가 정말 많이 들어와서 추가 물량을 확보, 한 번 더 최저가로 구매할 수 있게 준비를 마쳤습니다. 백진삼은 자연산삼의 DNA를 99% 동일하게 복제해서 150년 이상 된 감정가가 3억 원인 자연산삼을 먹는 것과 같은 효능을 담아낸 제품으로 한 포당 진세노사이드가 무려 57mg이나 들어있습니다. 그래서 그 어떤 제품보다도 그 효과가 탁월한데요. 백진삼 공식 홈페이지에는 이미 이 효과를 경험한 5,000개 이상의 후기들이 올라와 있으며 7일 이내 효과가 없을 시 100% 환불이라는 조건을 내걸고 있는 만큼 엄청난 자신감으로 무장한 제품입니다. 특히 몸에 좋은 성분이 최대한 체내에 흡수될 수 있도록 스위스 제네바 국제신기술에서 금상을 수여한 나노 공법으로 제작되어 그 어떤 제품과도 비교할 수 없는 효과를 나타내고 있는데요. 이 백진삼은 남녀노소 모두가 먹을 수 있는 제품으로 인터넷 최저가보다도 훨씬 저렴한 129,900원에 제공하고 있으며 3+1, 5+2, 7+3 혜택으로 더 많이 구매하실수록 더 저렴해집니다. 관심이 있으신 분은 고정 댓글에 있는 링크로 들어가셔서 상세한 상품 설명과 후기들을 읽어보시고 구매하시기 바랍니다. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다. 원다였습니다.